Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the USS Liberty and watched the stars through the main screen. He had been captain of this ship for 3 years, but today felt different. Today they would meet aliens for the first time in human history. The ship moved slowly through space toward Europa, one of Jupiter's moons. The aliens had chosen this place for their first meeting with humans. The USS Liberty was not a warship. It was built for exploring space and finding new worlds. Jake's crew of 200 people included scientists, doctors, engineers, and only a small security team. They never expected to need weapons when they left Earth 6 months ago. The ship had some basic guns, but nothing serious. Jake hoped they would not need them. "Captain, we are getting close to Europa," said his second officer, Kate Wilson. She was young but very smart. Jake trusted her to help make important decisions. "The alien ship is already there waiting for us." Jake nodded and looked at the screen. Again, the alien ship was huge, much bigger than the Liberty. It was black and had sharp edges like a knife. Strange lights moved across its surface in patterns that hurt to look at. Jake had never seen anything like it before. "Send a message to Earth," Jake told Kate. "Tell them we have made contact and everything looks peaceful so far." Ambassador Lisa Rodriguez walked onto the bridge wearing her best uniform. She was a small woman with dark hair and serious eyes. Lisa had spent years learning how to talk to people from different countries. Now she would try to talk to people from different worlds. Behind her came Katie Phillips, a young woman who helped Lisa with her work. Katie carried a bag full of gifts from Earth to give to the aliens. "Are you ready for this, Ambassador?" Jake asked Lisa. "As ready as anyone can be for something that has never happened before," Lisa said with a small smile. "The alien leader wants to meet on Europa's surface. They have built some kind of building there for us to use." Ryan Clark, the ship's security chief, stepped forward. He was a big man with scars on his hands from old fights. "Captain, I don't like this. We know nothing about these aliens. What if this is a trap?" "We have to take that risk," Jake said. "This is too important. But take your best people with you, Ryan. Keep the ambassador safe." In another part of the ship, Alex Turner cleaned his rifle in the weapons room. Alex had been a soldier before joining the space service. He was very good at shooting targets from far away. Other crew members called him the best shot on the ship. Alex had a bad feeling about this meeting, but he could not say why. Something felt wrong. 2 hours later, Jake, Lisa, Katie, Ryan, and 20 other crew members took a small ship down to Europa's surface. The aliens had built a clear building that looked like glass but felt warm to touch. Inside, the air was good for humans to breathe. Strange music played softly from speakers in the walls. The alien leader was waiting for them inside. He was tall, maybe 8 feet, with green skin that looked like snake scales. His eyes were yellow and had no white parts. He wore black clothes that seemed to move by themselves. When he spoke, his voice sounded like rocks grinding together. "I am Commander Zethkar of the Veltar Empire," the alien said. "We welcome humans to the greater universe. Your species shows much promise." Lisa stepped forward and bowed slightly. "I am Ambassador Lisa Rodriguez of Earth. We are honored to meet you and learn about your people." "Your females are especially interesting," Zethkar said, looking directly at Lisa and Katie. "We have studied your ship's records. Human women have very strong genetics. This could be useful." Jake felt something cold in his stomach when he heard those words. Ryan moved closer to Lisa, his hand near his weapon. But the aliens acted friendly. They showed the humans pictures of their worlds and talked about trade between their peoples. They gave gifts of strange metals and beautiful stones. The meeting lasted for 4 hours. "We would like to end this first meeting with a ceremony," Zethkar said. "It is a tradition of our people when we meet new friends." The aliens brought out a large bowl filled with blue liquid that glowed softly. They said it was a drink that would make the friendship between humans and Veltar last forever. Several alien soldiers came into the room carrying more bowls. "Everyone must drink at the same time," Zethkar explained. "This shows trust between our peoples." Lisa looked at Jake, who nodded. They had come this far? They could not refuse now without seeming rude. All the humans took small cups of the blue liquid. It smelled like flowers but tasted like metal. "To friendship between worlds," Lisa said, raising her cup. "To friendship," Zethkar repeated, but his yellow eyes looked cold. Everyone drank at the same time. For a moment, nothing happened. Then Katie Phillips fell to the floor. Her eyes rolled back and her body shook. Lisa tried to help her but then fell down too. All around the room, human. Women began collapsing. "What did you do?" Jake shouted, pulling out his weapon. But the blue liquid was affecting him too. His hands felt heavy and his vision became blurry. "We have given your females a neural disruptor," Zethkar said calmly. "They are not harmed, only sleeping. The males received a different mixture that will pass quickly." Alien soldiers rushed into the room carrying strange weapons. They grabbed the unconscious women and began carrying them away. Ryan tried to fight, but there were too many aliens. Jake fired his weapon but missed because his hands were shaking. "Why are you doing this?" Jake demanded. "Human females will help. Our empire grows stronger," Zethkar said. "Your species adapts well to different environments. Our females are dying because our genetics are too old. We need new blood to survive." "You're talking about slavery," Jake said, anger making him forget his fear. "We prefer to call it cooperation," the alien leader replied. "Your women will be well treated. They will help create a new species that combines the best of humans and Veltar." Alex Turner burst into the room with 5 other crew members, all carrying weapons. They had been waiting outside and heard the fighting. Alex's rifle was already aimed at Zethkar's head. "Let them go, or I will kill you right now," Alex said quietly. "Kill me, and your women die too," Zethkar said without fear. "They are already on our ships. My soldiers have orders to execute them if anything happens to me." Jake could barely stand now, but he forced himself to speak. "This is an act of war. Earth will not forget this." "Earth is welcome to try to stop us," Zethkar said. "But your technology is centuries behind ours. You have perhaps 50 warships? We have thousands." The aliens began leaving, carrying Lisa, Katie, and 15 other human women. Jake watched helplessly as they disappeared through doors that sealed shut behind them. The building began to shake as alien ships took off from Europa's surface. Alex helped Jake walk back to their shuttle. The effects of the drug were wearing off, but Jake felt sick for other reasons. They had come in peace and been betrayed. Worse, they had led the aliens right back to Earth. "Captain, what do we do now?" Alex asked as they flew back to the Liberty. "We go home and warn everyone," Jake said. "This is just the beginning." As the USS Liberty jumped to faster-than-light speed toward Earth, Jake stared at the stars and wondered if he had just doomed his entire species. Behind them, the alien fleet followed at a distance, like wolves tracking wounded prey. The USS Liberty arrived at Earth 3 days after the betrayal on Europa. Jake Morrison had sent emergency messages ahead, but nothing could prepare people for what was coming. As soon as the ship entered Earth's solar system, Jake saw the alien fleet on his screens. 200 massive black ships hung in space. Beyond the asteroid belt like a dark cloud blocking out the stars, Admiral Chris Wagner met Jake at the military space station orbiting Earth. Chris was an old soldier with gray hair and tired eyes, who had fought in the last war between Earth's nations 20 years ago. He had never expected to fight aliens from another world. "Tell me everything," Chris said as they walked through the station's corridors. Outside the windows, Jake could see Earth's defense fleet gathering. 50 ships seemed very small compared to what waited for them in the darkness. Jake explained what happened on Europa and how the Veltar had taken the human women. Chris listened without speaking, his face getting harder with each word. When Jake finished, Chris was quiet for a long moment. "So they want our women for breeding," Chris said finally. "Like we're animals in a zoo?" "That's what their leader said," Jake replied. "He called it cooperation, but we both know what it really is." Before Chris could answer, alarms began ringing throughout the station. A young officer ran up to them, with a message pad in his hands. "Admiral, The aliens are broadcasting on all frequencies, the officer said. They want to speak to Earth's leaders. Chris and Jake hurried to the command center where a giant screen showed the alien leader Zethkar. His yellow eyes looked even colder than before. Behind him, Jake could see human women in some kind of prison cells. Lisa Rodriguez was there, along with Katie Phillips and the others. People of Earth, Zethkar said in his grinding voice. I am Commander Zethkar of the Veltar Empire. We have taken some of your females as guests. They are safe for now. On Earth, billions of people watched their televisions and computer screens. In horror, in government buildings around the world, leaders gathered in emergency meetings. President Karen Mitchell of the North American Federation sat in the White House Situation Room with advisors from every nation. We offer Earth a simple choice, Zethkar continued. Give us all human females between the ages of 18 and 35, and your world will be spared. Refuse, and we will destroy every city on your planet. The alien leader gestured too. Something off-screen. The view changed to show one of Earth's mining stations in the asteroid belt. Suddenly, green energy beams struck the station from multiple alien ships. The mining platform exploded in a ball of fire that could be seen from Earth. That was a demonstration, Zethkar said as the view returned to his face. You have 72 hours to decide. Gather your females at the coordinates we are sending to your governments. Any attempt to fight will result in immediate destruction. The broadcast ended, leaving Earth's leaders staring at empty screens. In the White House, President Mitchell stood up slowly. She was a tough woman who had fought for workers' rights before becoming president. Now she faced the hardest decision in human history. Get me every military commander and scientist we have, she told her staff. I don't care if we have to wake them up or fly them in from other planets. We need options. Meanwhile, on the Veltar mothership, Lisa Rodriguez woke up in a small metal room with no windows. Her head hurt and she felt sick from the alien drug. Katie Phillips was in the cell next to her, along with 12 other human women from the diplomatic mission. Lisa, are you awake? Katie whispered through the bars between their cells. I'm here, Lisa said, sitting up carefully. How long have we been unconscious? About 6 hours, said Dr. Helen Carter, a scientist who had been part of the diplomatic team. I've been timing it by the ship's lighting cycle. Lisa looked around their prison. The walls were made of some kind of metal that felt warm to touch. Strange symbols glowed along the ceiling, probably alien writing. The air smelled like chemicals and something else she could not identify. What do they want with us? Asked Jenny Walsh, a young communications officer who looked scared, before anyone could answer. Footsteps echoed in the corridor outside their cells. 2 Veltar guards walked up to Lisa's cell. They were smaller than Zethkar, but still much bigger than humans. Their scaled skin was darker green, and they carried weapons that hummed with energy. You come now, one guard said in broken English. Commander wants to see leader female. They opened Lisa's cell and led her through the ship's corridors. Lisa tried to remember the path in case she could escape later. The ship was huge inside, with corridors wide enough for 3 humans to walk side by side. Strange artwork covered the walls, showing battles between different alien species. Zethkar waited for her in a large room filled with screens and control panels. Through a window, Lisa could see Earth in the distance, blue and beautiful and very far away. Ambassador Rodriguez, Zethkar said without turning around, your leaders will need guidance in making the right choice. You will help convince them. I will never help you enslave human women, Lisa said firmly. Zethkar turned to face her, his yellow eyes showing no emotion. You misunderstand our intentions. We do not wish to harm your species. We want to improve it. By taking our women? Against their will? Your females will be honored guests in our empire, the alien commander said. They will bear children who are stronger and smarter than either humans or Veltar. These hybrid offspring will inherit the best qualities of both species. And what happens to the women after you're done with them? Lisa demanded. They will be cared for, Zethkar said, but his tone suggested the conversation was over. You have influence among your people. Use it wisely. Back on Earth, Alex Turner sat in Admiral Wagner's office with Jake Morrison and several other military officers. Alex had been thinking about the alien ships he saw in the recordings from the diplomatic meeting. Their technology is advanced. But I noticed something, Alex said, studying images of Veltar weapons on the table. They rely heavily on energy shields and long-range weapons. But their ships seem designed for fighting other ships, not individual soldiers. What are you thinking? Admiral Wagner asked. I'm thinking they've never fought an enemy like humans, Alex replied. They'd probably expect us to line up our ships and fight a traditional space battle. They won't expect small teams using guerrilla tactics. Jake leaned forward. You want to sneak onto their ships? Not just sneak, Alex said with a cold smile. I want to show them what human snipers can do in space. That's suicide, said Colonel Pete Williams, the head of Earth's Special Forces. Maybe, Alex agreed, but sitting here waiting for them to destroy our cities is definitely suicide. At least this way we fight back. Admiral Wagner studied the young sniper carefully. Alex had been quiet during most meetings, but when he spoke, his ideas were usually good. What would you need? Modified rifles that can fire in space, stealth shuttles to get close to their ships, and volunteers who know they probably won't come back, Alex said simply. I can get you the equipment, Wagner said. But are you sure about this? Alex thought about Lisa Rodriguez and the other women trapped on alien ships. He thought about Earth cities full of families who would never survive an attack by 200 warships. I'm sure, he said, on the alien mothership. Katie Phillips pretended to sleep while she studied the electronic lock on her cell door. Before joining the diplomatic service, she had studied engineering and knew something about computer systems. The alien technology was different, but all computers worked on similar principles, late at night when the guards were not watching carefully. Katie used a piece of metal from her food tray to access the lock's control panel. The alien writing meant nothing to her, but the electronic signals made sense. If she could just figure out the right sequence, ... Meanwhile, on Earth, President Mitchell stood before the cameras to address the world. Her face was calm, but her hands shook slightly as she gripped the podium. My fellow humans, she began. We face the greatest threat in our species' history. Alien invaders demand that we surrender our daughters, our wives, our sisters to satisfy their twisted plans. She paused and looked directly into the camera. I have one answer for them. No, we will never surrender our people to become slaves, no matter what they threaten to do to us. Around the world, people watched their leader declare war on beings from another star. Some were terrified, others were angry. But most felt something else, a determination to fight for their families. No matter how impossible the odds seemed. In space, the alien fleet began moving closer to Earth. Alex Turner floated in the darkness of space, watching the alien fleet through his rifle scope. Around him, 5 other human snipers drifted in small stealth pods designed to be invisible to Veltar sensors. Each pod was barely big enough for one person and had enough air for 6 hours. After that, they would either complete their mission or die trying. Maria Santos floated beside him in her own pod. She was the best sniper in the Brazilian military and had volunteered immediately when Alex explained the plan. Her dark eyes were calm as she studied the massive alien ships through her scope. Target confirmed, Maria whispered into her radio. I can see the shield generator on the 3rd ship from the left. Same here, said Lieutenant Colonel Ben Hayes from his position near the front of the alien formation. Ben was British Special Forces and had fought in 3 different wars before this one. His job was to take out the communications array on the Veltar flagship. Captain Sam Johnson, an expert in zero-gravity combat, was positioned near the rear of the alien fleet. His targets were the engines of the smaller escort ships. If he could disable them, it would create confusion when the larger ships tried to maneuver. Remember, Alex said quietly to his team, we only get 1 shot each before they figure out where we are. Make it count. The plan was simple, but dangerous. Each sniper would fire at a critical system on different alien ships at exactly the same time. Their rifles had been modified to work in space and loaded with special ammunition designed to penetrate alien armor. If everything went perfectly, they would cripple 6 ships and create enough chaos for Earth's fleet to attack if anything went wrong. They would all die and Earth would fall. Admiral Wagner's voice crackled through their radios from the command ship. You have a go in 60 seconds. Earth fleet is standing by. On the Veltar mothership, Lisa Rodriguez had been planning her own attack. Katie Phillips had finally figured out how to open their cell doors, but they needed to wait for the right moment. Now, as alarms suddenly began ringing throughout the ship, Lisa knew their time had come. Katie, can you access the ship's computer system? Lisa asked as the electronic locks clicked open. I think so, Katie replied, her fingers dancing over an alien control panel she had managed to expose. Their security is focused on keeping us in, not keeping us out of their networks. Lisa gathered the other women in the corridor outside their cells. Dr. Helen Carter looked scared but determined. Jenny Walsh was shaking but trying to stay calm. They were diplomats and scientists, not soldiers, but they were also human women, fighting for their freedom. We need to find weapons and get to an escape pod, Lisa told them. But first, Katie needs a few minutes to download information about their ship systems. What kind of information? Dr. Carter asked. Anything that might help Earth fight these monsters, Lisa said grimly. In space, Alex Turner lined up his shot on the main shield generator of a Veltar cruiser. The target was small, maybe the size of a dinner plate, and it was 3 miles away. In atmosphere, such a shot would be impossible. In the vacuum of space, with no wind or gravity to affect the bullet's path, it was merely very difficult. 10 seconds, Admiral Wagner announced. Alex controlled his breathing and felt his heartbeat slow down. Time seemed to stretch as he made tiny adjustments to his aim. The alien ship filled his scope, its black hull covered with strange markings and weapon ports. 5 seconds. Alex thought about his sister back on Earth working as a teacher in Chicago. He thought about all the children in her classroom who would never grow up if the aliens won this war. Fire. 6 modified rifles fired simultaneously, their muzzle flashes bright against the darkness of space. Alex watched his bullet streak toward the alien ship, a tiny speck of metal carrying humanity's hopes across the void. The bullet hit the shield generator dead center. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the entire side of the Veltar ship erupted in explosions as the shield system overloaded. Secondary explosions rippled across the hull as other systems failed. Around the alien fleet, 5 other ships suffered similar damage as the human snipers found their targets. Ben Hayes had destroyed the flagship's main communication array with a perfect shot. Maria Santos had taken out another shield generator. Sam Johnson had disabled the engines on 2 escort ships with rapid follow-up shots, but the Veltar were not helpless. As soon as the first explosions lit up their ships, alien gunners began firing in all directions, trying to find the hidden attackers. Energy beams swept through space like deadly searchlights. Scatter and evade, Alex ordered his team. Make them work to find us. Ben Hayes was the first to be discovered. A Veltar sensor beam locked onto his position and 3 ships immediately opened fire. Ben tried to maneuver his tiny pod away from the incoming energy blasts, but there was nowhere to hide in empty space. I'm hit, Ben reported calmly over the radio as his pod's life support failed. Good luck, mates. The explosion was brief and bright. Ben Hayes, who had survived wars on 3 continents, died fighting aliens in the cold vacuum between worlds. On the Veltar mothership, Katie Phillips had accessed their computer network and was downloading everything she could find. Ship schematics, weapon specifications, fleet deployment orders, anything that might help Earth's forces understand their enemy. I'm getting their tactical database, Katie told Lisa excitedly. Lisa, this is incredible. They have weaknesses in their command structure we never imagined. How long do you need? Lisa asked, watching the corridor for guards. 2 more minutes. Lisa knew they did not have 2 minutes. Alien guards would discover their escape soon, and then their chance would be gone forever. But the information Katie was downloading might save Earth. Keep working, Lisa decided. We'll hold them off. Dr. Carter had found a storage room containing Veltar tools that could be used as weapons. They were not guns, but they were better than fighting with bare hands. Jenny Walsh stood at the end of the corridor, watching for guards. Someone's coming, Jenny whispered urgently. Two Veltar guards rounded the corner, their scaled faces showing surprise when they saw empty cells. They reached for their weapons, but Lisa was already moving. She struck the first guard with an alien tool, sending him crashing into the wall. Dr. Carter tackled the second guard, who was much stronger but had not expected humans to fight back. Done, Katie announced, pulling a data device from the alien computer. I've got everything. Then let's get out of here, Lisa said. In space. The battle was spreading as Earth's fleet moved in to attack the damaged Veltar ships. Alex Turner had managed to evade the search beam so far, but Maria Santos was running out of places to hide. Her pod was damaged and leaking air. Alex, I'm not going to make it, Maria reported. Pod is compromised and they're closing in. Hang on, Maria, we'll get you out of there. No time, she replied. But I can see their ammunition storage from here. If I can get close enough. Double quotes. Alex realized what she meant. Maria, don't do it. We can find another way. Take care of my family, Maria said simply. Her pod accelerated directly toward the nearest Veltar ship, alien energy beams tracking her path. At the last second, Maria fired her rifle into the ship's ammunition storage. The explosion destroyed her pod and took out an entire section of the alien vessel. Sam Johnson was having better luck. His position near the rear of the fleet gave him more room to maneuver, and he had already disabled 3 more ships. But ammunition was running low, and more alien ships were turning to hunt for him. Alex, we need to wrap this up, Sam called over the radio. They're getting organized. Alex could see that the sniper attack had worked better than anyone had hoped. 8 Veltar ships were dead or disabled, and the rest of the fleet was in chaos as commanders tried to figure out what was happening. Earth's ships were pressing their attack, using captured alien technology to punch through enemy defenses, but the mission was not over yet. Alex had one more target, the mothership where the human women were being held prisoner. If he could damage its engines, it might give Lisa and the others a chance to escape. Cover me, Alex told Sam. I'm going after the big one. Alex's pod raced toward the Veltar mothership, dodging energy beams and explosions from the ongoing battle. The ship was massive, easily 10 times larger than anything in Earth's fleet. Its hull was covered with weapon ports and sensor arrays, all searching for the tiny human attacking them. Through his scope, Alex could see movement near what looked like an escape pod bay. Small figures were fighting with larger ones, humans, battling aliens. Lisa and her team had made their own escape attempt. Alex lined up his shot on the mothership's main engine. The target was heavily armored, but his modified rifle was loaded with the most powerful ammunition human science could create. If this shot failed, the women would remain prisoners and Earth would lose its best chance to learn about Veltar. Weaknesses. Alex pulled the trigger. The bullet struck the engine housing and penetrated deep into the alien machinery before exploding. The entire rear section of the mothership went dark as power systems failed. Emergency lights flickered on throughout the vessel. On the mothership, Lisa felt the ship shudder as something exploded near the engines. Emergency alarms were screaming, and the lights kept flickering on and off. This was their chance. The escape pods are this way, Katie said, following the ship's schematics. Alex Turner's damaged pod limped back toward Earth's fleet while the battle raged around him. His mission had succeeded beyond all expectations, but the war was far from over. The Veltar still had nearly 200 ships, and Earth's forces were badly outnumbered. However, something had changed in the alien formation. Their perfect battle lines were broken, and individual ships were making decisions without waiting for orders from their commanders. Admiral Wagner watched from the bridge of his flagship as the rescued human women were brought aboard. Lisa Rodriguez looked tired but determined as she handed over the data storage device Katie Phillips had filled with alien secrets. Admiral, this information could change everything, Lisa said urgently. The Veltar are not as unified as they appear. Their command structure depends entirely on direct orders from ship commanders. When we disrupted their communications, individual captains had no idea what to do. Katie Phillips stepped forward, her face excited despite everything they had been through. Their computer systems are incredibly advanced but also incredibly centralized. If we can access their network again, we might be able to turn their own technology against them. Admiral Wagner studied the data on his screen while explosions lit up space outside. The information was revealing weaknesses in Veltar tactics that human forces could exploit. How fast can we get this intelligence to all our ships? Already working on it, said Captain Roy Martinez, Wagner's communications officer. But sir, we're getting reports from all over the solar system. It's not just our military fighting anymore. On Earth, something extraordinary was happening. When President Mitchell had refused the alien ultimatum, ordinary people had not simply waited for their governments to save them. In cities around the world, civilians were organizing themselves to help the war effort in ways no one had expected. In Detroit, retired auto workers had taken over abandoned factories and were building modified spacecraft using plans leaked from military research labs. The ships were crude compared to official military vessels, but they could fly and they carried weapons. Sarah Kim, a 60-year-old grandmother who had worked on car assembly lines for 30 years, welded armor plating onto a converted civilian transport. My grandson is up there fighting those monsters, she told a news reporter. I'm not going to sit here and do nothing while he risks his life. In Silicon Valley, teenage computer hackers had broken into Veltar communication networks using the data Katie Phillips had stolen. They could not control alien ships directly, but they could send false orders and create confusion in the enemy fleet. Jimmy Park, a 17-year-old high school student, typed rapidly on 3 computers at once. Their encryption is tough, but not impossible, he explained to his friends gathered around him. We just convinced 12 of their ships that they're supposed to attack their own flagship. Similar scenes were playing out across the globe. In Tokyo, engineers were reverse engineering captured alien weapons. In London, retired military officers were training civilian volunteers to fight in space. In Sydney, dock workers were loading modified cargo ships with improvised missiles. The Veltar had expected to fight Earth's official military forces. They had not prepared for an entire planet of angry humans who refused to surrender. On the crippled Veltar mothership, Commander Zethkar stood in his damaged command center trying to understand what had gone wrong. His perfect plan was falling apart. The human snipers had been impossible to detect until they fired, and now their own computer systems were being attacked by invisible enemies. Commander, we are receiving conflicting orders from multiple sources, reported his communications officer. Some of our ships are firing on each other. Impossible, Zethkar snarled. Our encryption cannot be broken by primitive human technology. Nevertheless, sir, 12 ships in Sector 7 have just attacked our supply vessels. They claim they received orders directly from you. Zethkar realized that humans were more dangerous than he had believed. They did not fight like civilized species with proper battle formations and clear command structures. They attacked from everywhere at once using tactics that made no sense. Send orders to all ships, he commanded. Ignore all communication except direct visual contact with command staff, and begin immediate bombardment of the human planet. We will end this war before it spreads further. In space, Alex Turner had finally reached Earth's fleet and was being transferred to Admiral Wagner's flagship. His pod was barely holding together, and he was exhausted from hours of combat in zero gravity. But when he heard about the alien plan to attack Earth directly, he forced himself to stay alert. Sir, request permission to return to combat, Alex told Admiral Wagner. Son, you've done enough, Wagner replied. Your mission saved those women and gave us the intelligence we needed. With respect, sir, the war isn't over yet, Alex said, and I still have work to do. Lisa Rodriguez, who had been listening to their conversation, stepped forward. Admiral, I may have an idea. The data we recovered shows that the Veltar mothership contains their entire battle planning computer. If we could capture it instead of destroying it, we would have access to information about their entire empire. That ship has thousands of crew members, Wagner pointed out. How do you propose we capture it? The same way we've been fighting this whole war, Alex said with a tired smile. We do something they don't expect, Lisa explained her plan. The Veltar mothership was damaged but still operational. However, the data Katie had stolen revealed that the ship's command center could be accessed through maintenance tunnels that were too small for Veltar, bodies but perfect for humans. It's another suicide mission, Admiral Wagner said after hearing. The details, maybe, Alex agreed. But if it works, we don't just win this battle. We learn enough about them to make sure they never threaten Earth again. Meanwhile, on the surface of Earth, the planet's defenses were being coordinated by an unlikely mix of military professionals and civilian volunteers. In the NORAD command center buried deep under a mountain in Colorado, General Patricia Stone worked alongside programmers, engineers, and even science fiction writers who understood alien technology better than most generals. The civilian ships are launching from 12 different locations, reported Colonel Mike Davis. They're not military quality, but there are hundreds of them. Every little bit helps, General Stone replied, watching screens that showed the approaching alien fleet. What's the status on our orbital defense platforms? Operational but limited ammunition, Davis said. The aliens will probably overwhelm them in the first wave. Outside, families gathered in their homes and watched. The sky, knowing that lights might soon appear overhead, lights that would mean the end of everything they had ever known. But instead of panic, most people felt a strange calmness. They had done everything they could. Now it was up to the warriors fighting in the darkness between worlds. Back in space, the modified plan was taking shape. Alex Turner would lead a small team of volunteers onto the Veltar mothership while Earth's fleet kept the aliens distracted. Their goal was to reach the command center and capture the alien battle computer intact. Sam Johnson, the zero-gravity combat expert who had survived the sniper mission, volunteered immediately. You'll need someone who knows how to fight inside a ship, he told Alex. Lisa Rodriguez also insisted on going. I speak some of their language and I know the ship's layout better than anyone. It's too dangerous, Alex protested. This is my mission too, Lisa replied firmly. Those women were my responsibility, and now ending this war is my responsibility. Admiral Wagner assigned them a stealth shuttle and a squad of Earth's best Special Forces soldiers. The team would have one chance to succeed before the Veltar realized what was happening and destroyed their own computers to prevent capture. As they prepared for the mission, reports continued coming in from around the solar system. The improvised civilian fleet was approaching the battle zone despite having no military training. Teenage hackers were still disrupting alien communications. On Earth, factories were producing weapons and ammunition around the clock. Admiral, Captain Martinez announced, I'm getting a transmission from the Veltar flagship. They want to talk. Commander Zethkar appeared on the main screen, his yellow eyes filled with anger and confusion. Behind him, smoke drifted through the damaged command center. Admiral Wagner, the alien commander said, your species fights without honor. You attack from hiding like cowards and use civilians in your military operations. We fight to protect our people, Wagner replied calmly. Something you apparently don't understand. We offered you terms that would have saved your world, Zethkar continued. Now we will destroy everything you have built. You're welcome to try, Wagner said. But you should know something about humans. We don't surrender, we don't give up, and we never stop fighting for what we believe in. The transmission ended, and Zethkar's image disappeared. Around the alien fleet, green energy began building up in the main weapons of every ship. They were preparing for a final attack that would reduce Earth cities to ash. Alex, you need to go now, Admiral Wagner told the infiltration team. We're out of time. Alex Turner looked at his small team of volunteers as they boarded the stealth shuttle. Lisa Rodriguez checked her translation device. Alex Turner's stealth shuttle approached the Veltar mothership through the chaos of battle. Explosions lit up space around them as Earth's fleet fought desperately to keep the aliens distracted. The massive alien vessel loomed ahead like a dark mountain floating in the void, its hull scarred by damage from the earlier sniper attacks. "Docking port is sealed," reported Lieutenant Gary Foster, the shuttle pilot. "But there's a maintenance hatch about 50 meters to our left." "Put us down." "There," Alex ordered, quietly. The shuttle settled against the alien hull with barely a vibration. Through the thick metal, they could feel the rumble of weapons firing and systems struggling to function after the damage they had taken. "Lisa," Rodriguez checked her breathing equipment one more time. "The maintenance tunnels they would use to reach. The command center were too small for Veltar bodies, but they would also have no air suitable for humans. Everyone ready?" Sam Johnson nodded, his weapons secured for zero-gravity movement. The 4 Special Forces soldiers, Sergeants Kevin Lane, Tony Brooks, Linda Shaw, and Carlos Rivera, had trained for shipboarding operations but never on an alien vessel. Still, their faces showed the calm determination of professional soldiers. "Remember the plan," Alex said as they prepared to cut through the hull. "We have maybe 20 minutes before they realize we're inside. Get to the command center, secure the battle computer, and hold position until Admiral Wagner can send backup." The cutting torch made quick work of the maintenance hatch. One by one, the team slipped inside the alien ship and began crawling through tunnels barely wide enough for human bodies. The passages were dark and filled with strange smells, like metal and something organic they could not identify. Lisa led the way using ship schematics Katie Phillips had memorized. Behind her, Alex moved with the silent efficiency of a trained soldier. The others followed in single file, each person alert for any sign of discovery outside the ship. The battle was reaching its climax. Admiral Wagner's fleet had been reinforced by hundreds of civilian vessels launched from Earth. The improvised ships were no match for Veltar technology, but their sheer numbers were creating chaos in the alien formation. Commander Zethkar stood in his damaged command center, watching human ships swarm around his fleet like angry insects. Some of the civilian vessels were nothing more than modified cargo haulers with missile launchers welded to their hulls. Others were sleek racing craft converted into one-person fighters. All of them were crewed by humans who refused to surrender. "Sir, the humans are launching another wave," reported his tactical officer. 300 more ships coming from their planet. "Impossible," Zethkar said. "They cannot have that many military vessels." "Sir, most of these appear to be civilian craft with improvised weapons." Zethkar realized that humans were fighting this war unlike any species he had ever encountered. They were not just using their military, they were using their entire civilization. Old people, young people, anyone who could fly a ship or fire a weapon was joining the battle. "Begin orbital bombardment immediately," he ordered. "Destroy their planet before more of them can reach us." "Sir, bombardment systems are offline due to damage from the sniper attacks." "Then repair them quickly." Inside the maintenance tunnels, Alex's team had reached the outer edge of the command center. Through a ventilation grate, they could see Veltar officers working frantically at control stations while alarms rang throughout the ship. "There," Lisa whispered, pointing to a large computer console in the center of the room. "That's their battle planning system. If we can access it, we'll have intelligence on their entire empire." Alex studied the room layout. 12 Veltar officers were at various stations, all focused on the battle outside. The main computer was about 20 feet from their position, with limited cover between the grate and their target. "Sam, take Linda and Carlos around to the other entrance," Alex ordered quietly. "When I give the signal, we hit them from both sides. Kevin and Tony, stay with me and Ambassador Rodriguez." The team split up, moving through different tunnel systems to reach their positions. Alex waited until he received confirmation that Sam's group was ready, then carefully opened the ventilation grate. "Go," he whispered. Both teams dropped into the command center simultaneously. The Veltar officers turned in surprise, reaching for their weapons, but the humans were already firing. The battle was brief and intense, lasting only seconds before all the alien officers were down. Lisa rushed to the main computer while Alex and his team secured the room. The system is still active, she reported. Katie's data shows how to access their files. How long do you need? Alex asked, watching the sealed doors for reinforcements. 5 minutes minimum. You've got it, Alex said, positioning his team. To defend the room, outside in space, the civilian fleet from Earth was pressing its attack despite horrible losses. Ships built in garages and workshops were exploding under alien fire, but more kept coming. The Veltar had never seen anything like it. Captain Frank Wilson piloted a converted mining ship that had been fitted with nuclear missiles. His crew consisted of his 2 sons and 3 neighbors from his small town in Montana. They had never been in space before 3 days ago, but they had volunteered when they heard Earth needed ships. Dad, their big ships are turning toward us, his younger son Bobby called from the weapons station. Then we'd better hit them first, Frank replied calmly. Fire everything we've got. The improvised warship launched 6 nuclear missiles at a Veltar cruiser. The alien ship's defenses destroyed 4 of the missiles, but 2 got through and exploded against its hull. The cruiser spun out of control, its main weapons offline. Frank's ship was destroyed 30 seconds later by return fire, but all across the battlefield. Similar attacks were overwhelming the alien fleet through sheer numbers and determination. On the Veltar mothership, Alex heard footsteps in the corridor outside the command center. Heavy boots and shouted orders in the alien language meant reinforcements were coming. Lisa, we need to move, he called. Almost done, she replied, her hands flying over the alien controls. This is incredible, Alex. They have star charts for dozens of systems, fleet positions, even plans for attacking other species. The doors to the command center exploded inward as Veltar soldiers blasted their way inside. Alex and his team opened fire immediately, using the control stations as cover. Green energy beams answered human bullets as the battle raged across the high-tech room. Sergeant Linda Shaw went down in the first exchange, hit by an alien weapon that left a smoking hole in her chest. Carlos Rivera kept firing even after taking a blast to his shoulder, his automatic rifle cutting down 2 Veltar before they could advance further. Got it, Lisa announced, pulling a data storage device from the computer. Everything they know about their empire is on here. Sam, we need an exit route, Alex called over the sound of weapons fire. Working on it, Sam replied, placing explosive charges on a wall panel. Everyone down. The explosion blew a hole in the ship's hull, and emergency systems immediately sealed the breach with an energy field that would keep air in but allow people to pass through. Beyond the opening, they could see space and the ongoing battle. We'll have to use emergency suits and fly back to our shuttle, Alex said, but as they reached the hole, he saw their stealth shuttle exploding under fire from an alien patrol ship. New plan, Sam said grimly. We steal one of theirs. The team fought their way through the ship's corridors toward the hangar bay, carrying the stolen data and their wounded comrade Carlos. Veltar soldiers pursued them, but the aliens were not used to fighting inside their own ships, and the humans had superior tactics for close combat. In the hangar bay, they found several small alien craft. Lisa quickly identified a scout ship that could carry all of them and began working on the controls using her knowledge of Veltar systems. I can fly this, she announced. Everyone aboard. As their stolen ship launched from the mothership, Alex looked back at the massive alien vessel. Explosions were rippling across its hull as damaged control systems failed. The ship was dying, and with it, the Veltar's main command center. Alex, look at this, Lisa said, studying the stolen data on a portable computer. The Veltar Empire is not as strong as they pretended. They're actually desperate. Their population is declining, and they've been losing wars against other alien species. That's why they needed human women, Alex realized. They're trying to save their entire species. It doesn't justify what they did, Lisa said firmly. But it explains why they're so afraid of individual initiative. Their whole society depends on following orders without question. Their stolen scout ship raced toward Admiral Wagner's flagship as the battle around them began to change. The Veltar fleet, deprived of central command and confused by conflicting orders from human hackers, was starting to break apart. Individual ships were making their own decisions, and many were choosing to retreat rather than continue fighting. Commander. Zethkar realized his invasion was failing. The humans had fought like nothing he had ever encountered, using tactics that made no sense but somehow worked. Worse, they had stolen his strategic database, which meant they now knew everything about Veltar weaknesses. All ships, retreat to the outer system, he ordered. We will regroup and return with reinforcements.